Loki Season 2 is back and it's as complex as ever. There are many unanswered questions like why is Loki time-slipping, who pruned Loki at the end of the episode, and how does this tie into Kang's return in the next Avengers movie. So if you want to know the answers to these questions, you're going to get them in this video. Now it's great to see Loki back in the MCU, and it's not surprising to see the TVA still crumbling down after the death of He Who Remains. But one thing that's still pretty unclear is why is Loki time-slipping? Why is it happening to him specifically? Well, if we go all the way back to Season 1, Loki was sent back into the past of the TVA, when Sylvie killed He Who Remains and used his tempad to push Loki back into the TVA through the time doors. And He Who Remains' tempad is a lot more advanced than just the normal tempads that the TVA hunters use. We've got a quick comparison on screen of the normal ones compared to He Who Remains'. And the big difference is that it actually allows He Who Remains to look back at the past, present and the future all at one time. But since Loki doesn't have control of this tempad in the first episode, it's causing him to time-slip all around the timeline of the TVA. And that's even though Obi says that it was impossible for this to happen. And he's now randomly being pulled between the past, present and the future because He Who Remains' tempad is still over at the Citadel with his core. And that's why Loki and Mobius go for the help of Ouroboros, or as Mobius calls him, Obi, who's of course played by Oscar winner Ke-Huy Quan, who helps Loki stop the time-slipping by pulling him out of the temporal loom with the extractor that Mobius attaches. And that leads us on to the second detail of who prunes Loki. Now why does Loki need to be pruned? Now as we said before, Loki gets help from Obi, and he's actually told that he needs to prune himself in order to be rewritten in time. Otherwise he'll be lost to time and he'll turn into spaghetti. And of course Mobius will lose all of his skin. Now in the scene where Loki is found by Sylvie in the elevator, if you look extremely closely behind Loki, there is a very blurry figure that seems to be wearing a suit, as you can slightly see on screen. Now this figure then later goes on to prune Loki, which then brings him back into the present at the end of the episode. Now this could be numerous characters who prune him. It could be Mobius, Victor Timely, or even Renslayer, because they're all seen wearing suits. The latter of the two are still yet to show up in the show, but we've seen clips of Victor Timely, the Kang variant, and also Renslayer in the trailers. But I think the most likely outcome is that it was Loki from the future who pruned himself. In the trailers we see Loki in the TVA standing near himself before quickly time-slipping away. So it's possible that Loki could prune himself, and we'll probably see this play out in the later episode. And the third detail, which is probably my favourite detail of the video, is He Who Remains' secret accomplice, and how it links to Avengers the Kang Dynasty. Now in Loki Season 1, He Who Remains explains to Loki that he ended the multiversal war by using a liar and the monster's powers. This episode reveals that Kang actually had a secret accomplice that was key to him winning the war, and that person was Ravonna Renslayer. And we find this out when Loki's in the TVA war room, where we see the statue of the 5 Kang heads, and then this recording plays out loud.
Ravonna Renslayer, you are quite a mortal. You made a difference in this war.
But something must have happened between Kang and Ravonna for him to erase her memories and just make her a TVA judge. Or maybe this recording's actually in the future, and Renslayer will help He Who Remains or Kang later in this series or in the Kang Dynasty. And Loki can actually have access to this recording already in the present because he can time-slip into the TVA's future. I think it's definitely possible this conversation with Renslayer and Kang could happen in the future, because in Season 1 when Renslayer is looking for answers after the reveal of the Timekeepers being fake, Miss Minutes actually gives Renslayer some information from He Who Remains, and she says this.
But he thinks this will be more useful.
Who?
But this information from He Who Remains may be pivotal to helping Kang win the multiversal war in Avengers the Kang Dynasty, and hence the recorded conversation between Kang and Ravonna. And this conversation could actually happen in the next Avengers movie, but Loki's already hearing it now. Now do you agree with me? I want to hear your theories in the comments below, and subscribe if you enjoyed, and with all that said and done, you've been watching All About Marvel. I'll see you in the next video.